I just enjoy the feeling of holding a pencil or whatever it happens to be, drawing lines away, and then see what comes out of these lines. My name is Constantine. I'm an artist based in Edinburgh. I come from Athens, Greece originally, but Scotland has been my home for the last 16 years. My studio nowadays is in St. Margaret's house in Meadowbank. It's just the side of Edinburgh, for those who are not familiar with, which is quite close to where I'm staying at the moment. I stay in Leith, so it's quite handy. It does take me about half an hour walk, which I do every day. My work is autobiographical, I would say, since I do a lot of self-portraits. It's a lot more fun. There's a lot more freedom. I'm never going to have to worry about what people are going to say. Oh, I don't look like that, or I don't look like this. I'm not interested in being accurate with portraiture. It's a representation. Today I'm making a painting, which is, I guess, a version of myself. I was just going through some older sketches I've done, just to get an idea, to have a rough guide of what am I going to do today. I like sketching actually a lot. I like winding down, painting can be intense. It's a physical thing. The bigger it is, the more intense. I like my paintings being, which is kind of like the opposite of my prints actually, but my painting, I like being clean, neat, but simple, modest. I don't really plan too much ahead in terms of what it is I'm going to do. I might have a rough idea. Often I would go through some sketches that I've done and see, okay, that's good enough for today. Let's just see what we can do with that. And I do enjoy taking my time. I don't like rushing, so I would often smoke a cigar on my way to the studio. I go to my studio on a daily basis, from morning to early evening. I do tend to take Sundays off, but I'll tell you what, if my studio was in my flat still, I would end up spending Sundays in the studio too. My studio is inside an old building, St. Margaret's house. I think it goes back to the 70s, and it's changed a couple of times. It's quite an interesting building actually. It doesn't look like it's the nicest from outside, but it's quite unique. It's pretty quirky inside, and I've heard so many stories. It used to be like the entire building was an empty plan. So just for me to see it now, it's about 260 studios or something. So there's a lot of people in here, it's a great community. I do spend a lot of time in my studio, so I do want to make it as homely as possible. So there's a little corner with an armchair, a nice armchair, which when I'm taking a break, I'll make a cup of coffee. I got a coffee machine, So just take a little break, sit down there, look at my work. Then the other section, the bigger section of it, is like where I do the paintings, which I just hang them on the wall. I barely really purchased anything. The community here in this building is so big, and people come and go, so you find all sorts of good things. I mean, my fridge in the studio I didn't buy. I got a nice rug I didn't buy. Step ladders, this and that. Most of the things in here I haven't bought. I mean, I got a very cool press over there for my printmaking courses and stuff. That was gifted to me by some older lady. She was like, anyone who wants this? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I am located by a railway, so every so often I can hear the trains go by. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes I don't appreciate it as much. The human figure, the human soul is what's most important to me, so I dabble with that a lot. It could be seen through other series of work I've done, including like superheroes or mythology, Greek mythology in particular. I guess since I'm from there, I'm more familiar with it. Perfection is not really a thing. I just don't feel too attached to the outcome, so it's all good, just going with the flow of the moment. I don't like restricting myself into particular mediums or ways of doing things, I like it being a bit more fun, so I let loose with that, and I hope that shows through. So I guess to me the most important thing is to get the image that's in my head onto the piece of paper, canvas, whatever happens to be. The medium is less important. I would use whatever it takes in that particular piece to show at its best. Music plays a big role in my everyday life. I do it all the time. I mean, I listen to it or I play it myself. I do have a small piece of a drum kit in the studio, so I can, jump back and forth from playing a bit to painting, back to painting, taking a little break from painting, do something else for a little bit, go back to painting. This piece over here is part of my series Tales of a Fake Friendship, which is not quite complete, but I'm pretty excited about it. It showcases people's, behavior when it comes to friendships and punctuality and excuses that people can give. And I thought the best way to do it is like with double portraits all the way, but it's always self-portraits. I just like being playful, turning myself into a character, putting myself into positions that maybe you wouldn't necessarily be in real life or something like that.